Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Dr. Sheth, and today I'm going to be talking about deodorant and whether you should switch to a natural deodorant. And there's been a lot of hype out there about switching to a natural deodorant, to go aluminum free, paraben free, sulfate free. There's all these trends out there, and it's really hard to sort through what is marketing techniques and what is actually true. So I'm hopefully going to try to uncover some of the confusion around that and help you or guide you to make the best decision for yourself. So I'm going to start off with the basics, all right? So why do people use deodorant? People use deodorant for two main reasons. One is to stop sweating, and so that you feel dry. And the second reason is to neutralize body odor. And sweating is a physiologically important part of our homeostasis, right? We sweat to regulate our temperature, and we sweat when we're stressed. And what happens when you sweat is, you release water and salt from your glands, and this evaporates from your skin, and it creates a cooling effect to lower your temperature. Now, in certain parts of your body, there are different types of sweat glands, and the ones that are found under your arm are called apocrine glands. And these sweat glands are special because they actually secrete a sweat that has more fatty acids in it and some protein, which is different from, your arm's skin or your feet skin, which when they sweat, they just release regular sweat, which would be salt and water. And what creates body odor is that more special sweat that comes from your underarms is broken down by bacteria, and you're going to find more bacteria, right? A heavier burden of bacteria under your arms because it's a more moist, warm area, and that bacteria breaks down that sweat and creates that body odor. So sweating is important, and you can actually get overheated if you're not sweating properly. And there are, however, occasions where you don't want to sweat and where you need to stay dry. And for me, it's the Indian weddings that I go to in the summertime where I'm wearing a silk sari and my mom is like watching me to make sure that there's no sweat stains that are showing up on her blouse. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, there's special events. You have an important meeting, you're doing a presentation, you have photos, a photo shoot. Sweating is not helpful in certain situations. So that's when antiperspirants come into play. So when you say the word deodorant, it actually can mean two things, and you need to kind of clarify whether the deodorant has antiperspirant properties in them. So it's quite simple. If a deodorant also is an antiperspirant, it has an active ingredient, which is an aluminum salt. And there are different types of aluminum salts that come in different formulations, and I'm not going to go into the details for that. For now, I'm just going to call them aluminum salts. And it's that active ingredient that stops you from sweating. So when you apply this active ingredient, it seeps into your sweat duct and it prevents you from sweating. In turn, that sweat doesn't really reach the surface of your skin, and the bacteria don't have access to it to break it down to create an odor. So it kind of has that dual effect of preventing odor and keeping you dry. So what's the controversy that's out there right now? Well, there have been studies out there and concerns about the link of using an antiperspirant and breast cancer. Because there's breast tissue that actually goes all the way up into your underarms. Researchers have suggested that the antiperspirant actually can increase the risk for breast cancer. Now, the conclusions that have overall come from that is that the evidence is not strong enough to suggest that there's a link. Some studies conclude that there is, other studies say that there's no evidence, and overall the quality of these studies are not very good. So what I would say is that it's mostly inconclusive, but also not the ones that do show that there's concerns, I don't feel are strong enough for me to be worried that there's a link. In terms of Alzheimer's disease, This worry has come up decades ago when people were, drinking, or we still do, but, when soda cans started coming around and aluminum foil for baking. Really, we're using aluminum in so many different ways throughout our day that people were concerned. Looking through the studies again, the conclusions made by the Alzheimer's Foundation, they all suggest that there really is no evidence and no concern for antiperspirants and its link to Alzheimer's disease. Also keep in mind that the active ingredient, the aluminum salts, are not absorbed into the body, right? They're trickling down into the sweat duct and blocking the sweat and plugging the duct. So, maybe trace amounts are getting absorbed, but overall the product is really lying on top of your skin and in the duct. So absorption is quite minimal. And I'll also say that, the reason I have mixed feelings about this is, again, what I mentioned earlier about marketing. You find these products out there that are saying that they're aluminum free, and yeah, they're aluminum free, but they're not going to stop you from sweating. So you really have to keep that in mind, that if it's going to be aluminum free, then you're going to feel more wet throughout the day and you won't have that dry effect. Those products are basically perfume in a stick. And so if you're gonna buy those products, make sure you're aware of that. So overall, my thought is that if you want to stay dry, you should use something that has the aluminum salt in it. Now the question is, have I changed my practice? After all of this, what does Dr. Sheth do? And I actually have changed my practice because I feel more educated and aware of what the products are and how to best use them. So first of all, I use antiperspirants on the days that I need to stay dry. That Indian wedding, a long day at work, being out in the heat are some examples. But when I go to the gym or I'm going to hot yoga, you're gonna be sweating and you want your body to be able to regulate in the most natural way as possible. And since I'm sweating anyways, I have stopped using antiperspirant deodorants. I just use a normal deodorant without that active ingredient, just to help neutralize the odor. The second thing is that if you are planning to use an antiperspirant, you can actually apply it the night before. So, the best time to apply it is when you're dry and not sweating. So applying it at nighttime gives it time to work overnight and seep into the ducts. And if you notice that you have irritation with the active ingredients, the aluminum salts, you can actually take a wet washcloth and wipe off that excess from the top layers of your skin, and the product will still be in the duct and will still perform just as well. So those are a couple of tricks that I have. So in terms of products that I'm using right now, I have been using this for years. It's the Degree Anti-perspirant, and the concentration is aluminum zirconium tetrachlorhydrix, and it's 11.4%. And it's just what I buy. And the new addition to my rotation is this Native deodorant, which is like $13. And again, on the back it says paraben free, aluminum free, but the reality is that most deodorants in the United States don't have paraben in them. So is that a marketing technique? I think so. And then in terms of being aluminum, yeah, it's aluminum free, but it's really not going to stop you from sweating. It smells great. It is vegan. It's cruelty free. I think it's ethically sourced. So those are the reasons why I'm using this. It's not because it's some magical deodorant that I feel like is the best one out there. I just like what it stands for, and that's why I want to support the company. Anyways, I hope you guys found this useful. I personally feel like I got quite educated on this topic just by planning to do this video, and I am curious to know whether you're going to switch up what you do, and let me know if you guys have any deodorants that you like, any other suggestions for future videos, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.